friendly with Boris and Boris. But that's all I remember.
Do you know whether Mr. Gates traveled with Mr. Epstein on his plane to any of his houses?
So if that friendship was after, it was in the late 2000s, so if I met him, like I said, I went to Epstein's house maybe once or twice, and maybe I met him there, I don't remember.
So you don't...
So I wouldn't know if he had been on Epstein's
plane. And you don't recall ever being on like a plane with him flying to the island or to anywhere?
No.
Do you know somebody named Reid Hoffman?
I do.
Who's that?
Reid's a Silicon Valley guy.
Is what?
Silicon Valley.
And how do you know him?
Through my friends in San Francisco. I used to have a very close friend who was in San Francisco, who's part of that whole... I have several, actually, or had.
So is that a relationship you have kind of separate and apart from Mr. Epstein?
Oh, separate.
Do you know whether Mr. Epstein had a relationship with Reid Hoffman?
I don't know.
Did you ever observe Mr. Hoffman flying anywhere with you or Mr. Epstein,
No.
or getting massages?
No.
So there's a list of multiple masseuses that is floating around. I think you had in your discovery. I think you were just talking about that. That list. Do you know how that list was created?
No. All that stuff that came out of that book, I now find suspect.
It's part of the story you just told us.
Yes. Now, I'm not saying it's all fake. I don't know what's real and what's not. I don't know what name is true. Now that it's been, to my mind anyway, now that it has been, without a doubt, contaminated and possibly fraudulent, I'm not, I don't know. I mean, obviously the numbers that I recognize on my own, those are real, but how it was actually ended up put together and compiled, and the purposes for it, for which then they blackmailed my boyfriend, now I'm just, no.
Over the years, when you were serving as like the general manager, so the mid-90s all the way into the 2000s, did you or do you know whether anyone maintained a list of all the masseuses, like a running list?
So there's three ways. So I know that the house itself, John Alessi had a Rolodex that he kept the names and numbers of all the people that came to the house so that he could call. So because I only was with Epstein even at best half the time. So when I was there, he had like his chief of staff who could find whatever he needed, and when I wasn't there, he had to rely on somebody else, right? So be that John Alessi or whoever else. So whoever was traveling with him or wherever he was, he needed somebody else to access information. So he had an assistant, chief, who was his secretary, who would be the one that would update his computer. Like everybody has an address book.
But was what you're describing, which it makes sense. Was that a list of masseuses or a list of people that might need to be contacted, which would necessarily include a lot of masseuses?
That's the latter.
And did you update that? Like, were you one of the people that would add names to it? Like, if a masseuse came and leaves and Mr. Epstein says yes, she was good, would you be part? Like, how was the list kind of maintained, or who maintained it?
Typically, no, because there would be an assistant who would do that. Plus, Epstein would not allow me to answer the telephone ever. So, or maintain or keep any of his messages in the office or at the house. So typically that wouldn't be, because I wouldn't be the one. Could I say to you I never did it? No, of course not, because that just seems ludicrous. But as a rule of thumb, the answer would be no.
During the 2007-8-9 the investigation out of the Southern District of Florida, so you said that you weren't contacted by law enforcement.
I was not.
after Mr. Epstein was charged, did you have conversations with him about the investigation?
He never talked to me about it.
Did you,
I mean, I can't, let's put it this way. If he did, I have no recollection of it. I mean, I'm sure he must have said, this is all whatever he said, or it's nothing, or whatever. I mean, I just don't have any memory. I mean, I was with Ted. I was like gone. I mean, plus, I just didn't want to know either, I suppose.
so you don't know firsthand why the U.S. Attorney in Florida made the deal that he did? Meaning you weren't part of that discussion along the way. Like Mr. Epstein didn't say, "I'm getting a good deal," or, you know, something's happening with the case that's very good. You to the extent you know anything about it, it's just from what you've heard or read from others, not from Mr. Epstein. Is that right?
He never talked about the non-prosecution directly with me, no. But he did.
But it's still enforceable as to her.
I mean, he never said, "Hey, are you happy with this deal?" like that. But I understood. He never enjoined me to the MPA, but I understand that he included me specifically, and I'll tell you why.
Well, it's okay. You don't need to get into that.
No, yeah, I don't want to talk about the legal,
Yeah.
the what's on appeal. I'm just
No, I would. Well,
the reason for my question, just to be, I'm not trying to hide something. But there's a very strong belief that he got a very good deal, and that he should have been sentenced to more time or got a different sentence from the feds in a non-prosecution agreement. And I'm not asking you to opine on that, but I'm wondering whether he ever talked to you about that, but it sounds like he didn't.
That he got a good deal? No. I think actually, well, his comments that I've read was that he didn't get a good deal, and I think that when he fought it so hard, it's because he didn't think he did.
When he was serving his sentence, were you around during that time, like when he was allowed to leave during the day or travel during the day?
I never called him. I never saw him, and I never went to the jail.
So I'm going to ask you questions that you shouldn't read into them. I just want to know whether they resonate with you. Have you ever had any contact with any representative that you know of from Mossad, the Israeli intelligence agency?
Can you ask me that again?
Have you ever had any contact with an individual that you understand to be from Mossad, an Israeli intelligence agency?
Well, not deliberately.
Pardon me?
Not deliberately.
Okay. And did you know, we talked about this a little bit earlier, but just to put a finer point on it, did you ever know that were you ever told, do you ever think that Mr. Epstein was getting any money from any intelligence agency, including Mossad?
Well, I don't believe so, but I wouldn't know. I mean, I would be very surprised if he did. I don't think so. No.
We've talked about a lot of names, and I'm sure there's some that we haven't covered. Are there any foreign nationals? So right now we've talked about some British, the royal family a little bit, and maybe high society folks in Britain. Were there any international businessmen or politicians that had a very close relationship or a close relationship with Mr. Epstein that we haven't already talked about?
Off the top of my head, I can think of Ehud Barak.
You said that Mr. Epstein, at some point in the mid to late 90s, he started taking testosterone. Did you ever know him to take any other drugs?
No. I mean, he took pills for his heart, I think. But no substances.
What do you know anything about his heart condition? I know we talked about this at 9:45 this morning, but do you know anything about his heart condition and beyond that you understood he had a heart condition that affected his ability to have sex?
Other than what he told me, no, he never shared anything. But he did take pills. I don't know anything about that, and like I said, he did the testosterone, which made him mean.
And we're jumping around a little bit.
Sorry.
Do you know someone named Donald Barr?
No.
He is, I can represent to you, was the former headmaster of the Dalton School, which you mentioned earlier.
Oh, right.
Do you remember any conversations with Mr. Epstein about a book that Mr. Barr wrote called Space Relations?
I've never heard of that.
About aliens and sex?
No.
Do you know whether, well, have you ever met the former Attorney General of the United States, Bill Barr?
No.
Do you remember whether Mr. Epstein knew him or whether his name ever came up in conversations you had with Mr. Epstein?
I don't recall any.
Okay. Did you have a relationship, or no? I'm using relationship, and I appreciate you don't like that word. Did you know Mr. Epstein's brother, Mark Epstein?
Yes.
How did you know him?
Through Jeffrey.
How would you describe your relationship? Close, friendly?
My personal?
Yes.
Not that close, but friendly enough. I mean, you know.
How was Jeffrey Epstein's relationship with his brother Mark, from what you observed?
I mean, they were brotherly, but I think that I don't know. There had periods when they were closer, and then when they weren't. I think sometimes Epstein found his brother irritating.
And I think I know the answer, just given what you just said about Bill Barr, but did you ever hear any from Mr. Epstein or anybody else that Bill Barr had any role in Mr. Epstein getting a good plea deal in Florida, or any role in that process with Mr. Acosta?
I never heard that.
I think you said this in an interview, but if I'm wrong, forgive me. Do you have a view of Mr. Epstein, of whether he committed suicide or whether something else happened?
Can we take a
Take
break?
a break? Yeah, sure. Yeah, we can take a break.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Actually, it's a good time to take a break anyway, because this will be the last one of the day.
All right, so we're going to take a break at it's 2:53, Thursday, July 24th. We are continuing with the recorded proffer of Ms. Maxwell. The time is now 3:10 p.m., Thursday, July 24th.
My colleagues alerted me to a couple questions I think I may have forgotten to ask you. One is, sorry, I'm just going through my notes. Well, we talked a few minutes ago about this birthday book that there's been press about. I understand you don't remember anything with President Trump, or a lot about the book anyway. Do you remember asking President Trump to submit a letter for that?
I do not.
And do you remember, would you have been the one to do that, or would somebody else have done that?
I did ask some people. I don't remember Mr. Trump. I don't remember who I did ask, but Epstein also asked people himself directly.
Okay.
So it could have happened that way, if it happened at all.
I'm trying to find on the. Where is that?
You mentioned Ehud Barak.
Yes.
What was his involvement?
This would have been in the later 2000s, so I do not know how they met, but I do know that they, I don't know if friendly would be the right word, I don't know that, but I know that they saw each other, and only because my father, you know, anything that touches Israel or the state of Israel, I'm always interested in, because my father loved Israel, and so I pay attention to it, and we have ties to Israel.
When you said it was later, though,
Ties meaning friends and family relations.
was the
Sorry.
prominent was Mr. Brock, Prince Brock. Do you know what the nature of his relationship was with Mr. Epstein?
I don't.
Do you know? Were you ever with them together?
I think I have a memory of meeting Attwood, but I don't know if he was with Epstein or I don't remember. I just know that I did see him, and I'm struggling to remember the context around it. But I'm sure it happened, but it must have been very brief because I don't have any serious memory of it, any deep memory of it.
And maybe this is obvious.
And maybe it comes also because I've read it in the press, that maybe something that brought it to my memory. So that's also, I think the press has been very contaminating. So it's hard sometimes to separate those stories from your memory sometimes.
Do you know a British gymnast by the name of Heather Mann?
Yes.
Did she?
I didn't know she was a gymnast.
Oh, okay. I'm reading something that says she was a gymnast, but
Okay.
Please don't assume that that's correct.
Okay.
Based upon my words.
Okay.
Did she ever travel with you and/or Mr. Epstein?
Yeah, she did actually. I think that she might have been one of Mr. Epstein's girlfriends at some point.
What? Again, I know we're talking about time periods that are vast. What time period would that have been? Like after you, since 2000?
I want to say, I don't know, could be the 90s, I don't know. But I mean, listen, there are people that pop out of the woodwork all the time. I just saw one on TV saying she was his girlfriend in 93 and 94. So, I mean, he obviously was very busy.
Where's she flying?
Well, there's that.
Did someone named Mark Middleton?
Yes, I
Who's
remember
that?
him. He was in the Mr. Clinton's administration, President Clinton's administration, I think.
And how do you know him?
I met him, and I met him through Mr. Epstein.
And was he, from what you observed, was he a friend or business acquaintance with Mr. Epstein?
I mean, I only saw him a handful of times, but I did see him with him. I mean, he seemed friendly. I don't know if I would characterize. I mean, having seen him briefly, I don't know how to characterize that.
Do you know whether he flew on airplanes with Mr. Epstein? Did he visit the island? Do you know anything about that or their relationship as it relates to that?
I don't have any recollection of seeing Mark Middleton at the island.
How about former U.S. Senator George Mitchell?
Yeah, I do remember George.
What do you remember about him?
I travelled with him. We went to the most memorable day. I went to. Well, I was friendly with his wife. Start with that, with Heather. And Heather was in New York, so I hung out with her a few times. We had dinners, and I was just friendly, I would say. Separately from her husband, was friends with Heather. I met Heather through her husband, but we became friends.
You became friends with Heather.
Yes.
Was Mr. Epstein friends with Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Did they travel together besides New York? Did they travel to the island or to New Mexico?
I don't remember George ever at the island, but the most memorable trip I do recall with Senator was to Italy.
Was to where?
To Italy.
Ah, okay.
We went to Rome.
As the four of you? So Heather and Mr. Mitchell and you and Mr. Epstein?
That's my recollection.
And what were you there for?
Well, the most memorable aspect of that trip is we went to the Vatican. And it was extraordinary. And the most extraordinary thing was going to the archives and holding Henry VIII's document to the Pope, asking for his divorce.
Do you know the former president of Colombia, Andres Pastrana?
Yes.
How do you know him?
I met Andres Pastrana in a pub in Dublin.
And did he travel with Mr. Epstein that you know? I don't know if
I don't know if he was ever on the plane. I don't think he ever came to the island. But I went 2 places with Andres Pastrana. One was to Colombia, and Epstein came to that. And the other was to Cuba, and Epstein was there, and Pastrana was there.
And what were the purposes of traveling to Colombia then Cuba?
I'm a helicopter pilot, and Andres is a helicopter pilot, and we just became friends, and I flew a Black Hawk in Colombia.
And how about to Cuba?
I have a friend of mine who was the cigar distributor for Monte Cristos, maybe. I can't remember which cigar it was. And so we went there, and he organised the trip, and we met Fidel Castro.
When was that approximately?
Had to be 2002, 2003.
Okay.
Something like that, I think.
There's some more names that we might talk about tomorrow with the same type of questions. But as far as a catch-all, there's been a tremendous amount of public information about all kinds of names, including some of the folks we talked about today, and their relationship with Mr. Epstein and/or you. For any of the folks that we've talked about today, did you observe them doing anything improper with Mr. Epstein, whether with masseuses or with women or girls who were traveling, or at the residence that they were at, or at the parties that they were at?
I did not ever at any time see that.
And for any of the names we've talked about today, and then tomorrow we'll talk about some more, but for today, do you recall having any conversations with anybody else where they reported to you that they had seen something that one of these individuals had done, whether someone else that works with Mr. Epstein or somebody that observed something?
If anybody had ever reported anything, first of all, the answer to that is no. And also, I just want to be clear that had anybody ever reported anything illegal or disgusting like that, I would have immediately done something. And I never heard it, I never saw it, and no one ever complained to me, or tears, nothing like that.
Okay. All right, so we took a break when we were talking about Mr. Epstein and his death. Oh, bless you. That's okay, take your time. So, Mr. Epstein and his death. So, you were not obviously at the MCC during that time, correct?
Thank you.
Oh, thanks. Thought you were giving it to me.
I think I've got something blew up my nose.
So just take some
Like a
water, it's
frog.
okay, no problem. You were not at the MCC during that time, correct?
I was not.
So you're going to tell us what you believe, but I just want to make sure I understand. Your basis for belief is kind of what you've read and seen, and your knowledge of Mr. Epstein for the many years you knew him, right?
And actually, there's a third component.
Okay.
The answer to that is yes, and
Okay.
there's a third component to that,
Mhm.
which is having experienced now the mismanagement and inefficiencies and total dereliction of duty at the Bureau of Prisons.
From BOP, from the Bureau of
Yes.
Prisons. Okay, fair. Okay, so, what I do want to be careful about is, asking you to speculate, because anybody can do that, and I don't think that's fair to you or anybody else to ask you to give us your kind of opinion, but do you think that the third point you say, which is kind of a failure by the BOP, there's been a lot of there's an OIG report, there's an SDNY investigation about that. So you think he did not die by suicide, given all the things we just talked about?
I do not believe he died by suicide, no.
And do you believe that, do you have any speculation or view of who killed him?
No, I don't.
And I ask that because if you don't believe that there's any truth to the allegations of blackmail, or that he had kind of a list, or that he had reasons to have people hate him, why would somebody kill him in prison?
Well, in prison, where I am, they will kill you, or they will pay, somebody can pay a prisoner to kill you for $25 worth of commissary is about the going rate for a hit with a lock today.
So that goes to the third reason, which is kind of the mismanagement, or
Yes.
the shortfallings or shortcomings of the Bureau of Prisons.
Yes.
Which is a little bit different than my question is, which is, do you think there's somebody on the outside of prison, so putting aside what could happen on the inside, on the outside of prison, who wanted him dead so badly that he would have, or she would have, caused him to be killed on the inside?
I think I don't see that. I think, is it possible? Of course it's possible, but I don't know of any reason why, and I don't believe in the blackmail or in any of this. I don't think Epstein had a hit on like that. If it is indeed murder, I believe it was an internal situation.
Yeah, so you don't have any reason, first-hand knowledge, or even speculation, it sounds like, to think that that he was killed to kind of silence him, or to keep him from going public about people he knew about.
I don't. No, because I think that is just part of the story that's been created that started back in 2008-9.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's the point. Like, I don't think there's value in talking. There's been a lot of information about what happened, at the MCC, but what is important to me is whether, if is the idea that he didn't die by suicide. That's one thing, but if to the extent that folks believe that he was murdered to keep him quiet, or because he had information on rich and powerful people, do you have any reason to believe that that's true?
I do not. I have any reason to believe that, and I also think it's ludicrous, because I also happen to think if that is what they wanted, they would have had plenty of opportunity when he wasn't in jail.
Yeah.
And if they were worried about blackmail or anything from him, he would have been a very easy target.
In the time, so we've talked about a lot of time all the way up through 2009-10, and then the time that after Mr. Epstein was arrested. When's the last time you spoke with him?
Maybe 2016, 2017, maybe 2016. 2015, 2016, 2017, in that area, I believe.
And what, when you're thinking about that last time, was that you had been talking to him a lot and then you stopped, or was that a one-off time and it was infrequent at that point?
I really wasn't in communication. The only communications I had with him was with regards to the civil suits. The civil suit that I found myself in, the defamation suit I found myself in. I needed help. I needed information, and I didn't have what I needed. And so that was really what drove it, was me trying to get myself out of this situation, which I ultimately led to where I am today. And so when that, I don't remember even if I stopped talking to him before that. I thought he was angry with me anyway. He didn't like what I did, and I wasn't wasn't interested in what he had to say to me. And
What did you think he was angry with you about?
I think he was angry that I had even said that I had referred to her being a liar. He said I should have not said anything, but
when the civil suits that were ongoing before Mr. Epstein's death,
yes.
Did your lawyers coordinate with his lawyers, like in discovery and things like that, on anything?
I don't think we coordinated in I'm not sure.
Okay.
I don't want to misspeak. There was some degree of communication, for sure. I just don't know the degree that took place. So definitely, I mean, I was definitely hoping for him to be more helpful, and I was definitely, coordinating is not a good word because that sounds like I was trying to align myself. That's not where we were going here. But I was definitely trying to get help, as in documents or information that I could use to defend myself. That's 100% true. And the degree to which that took place, I don't recall. There was definitely some of that, though. I don't want to mislead you.
We touched on this earlier, but I just want to, I don't think we really ran it to ground maybe as much as we could. Like, going up through that time, you know, so in the 16, 17, 18, up until the time he's arrested, had your view or your understanding of what had happened changed? Meaning, did you believe that in the late 90s or early 2000s when he started, you know, behaving much differently, did you believe what you were hearing about him at that point?
My views, I didn't like the people he was with anyway, so I don't find, how do I say this? I like people who my age or older, and I don't find the society of, or the companionship of younger people who are, younger people I suppose really, that enjoyable. So I don't like the company that he chose to be with, and so I just find it boring and fundamentally uninteresting. That's probably the nicest way I can say it.
Yeah. Okay. So I think what we should do is just spend a few minutes talking about tomorrow. Everything was great today. I think that it was very helpful, and I appreciate you trying to be as complete as you can. I think tomorrow, you've said a few things today about materials that you brought. When we're done, we'll give you a few minutes with Mr. Marcus to if there's things that you want to show him that you think we should see. Like I said, I'm not asking you to corroborate anything. If I was asking you to corroborate something, I would tell you. But if there's something you think that you don't think that the government has seen, or you think that it was important for me to see, let Mr. Marcus know, and he can share it with me. Tomorrow, we'll certainly have some follow-on questions when we all think about tonight, and I think you will too. You know, we can all think about stuff we've talked about. We covered a lot of different areas. I do want to talk more about you. So by design today, we wanted to focus on Mr. Epstein and talk about, you know, kind of, well, everything under the sun that we've gone through today. I do think it's important when we all evaluate what you've said today and kind of your story, to also understand why you're here, right? So you were indicted, you were charged, you went to trial, and I want to do that in a way that gives you an opportunity to kind of say your piece, or to say what you haven't said before, but also understanding that there was a people who took the witness stand and swore to tell the truth and testified about you and what you did and what they think you saw and what they heard you say, and I'm not I said to Mr. Marcus, I'm not trying to create a kind of a she said situation or a he said, she said situation, but I do want to hear from you about your conduct because it's important, I think, for when we evaluate what you say and how you say it and your recollection of things to also to talk about that. So we'll do that tomorrow. I want to talk about the circumstances leading up to your arrest. There's a lot of, I think, misinformation, or there's a lot of information out there that I don't know whether it's misinformation, but about the time from 2019 up until the time that you were arrested. And then, like I said, that'll take us through lunch tomorrow, and then we'll be done. I don't have a plan. I didn't know that I was coming here until this week. Okay, so I'm not. There isn't like a. We don't have like a schedule of what happens next or what happens. But that's not a negative thing. I'm just saying that's so you shouldn't take the lack of a next step as anything other than we don't have a next step yet. So.
May I say something?
Of course, yes.
I just would like to put out there that I also focused on how I think the president got swept into some of this, unnecessarily, by the way. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist, and I certainly don't subscribe to all of everything that I see, but I do believe that there is animus in some areas that may have contributed to how the use of the president to harm him that I find deeply offensive. And whilst I can't obviously say definitively that is what it is, I would like to show you what I see so that you can evaluate it and do with that as you see fit, if it needs to be addressed. I've seen it. It struck me, and I would like to give it to you for what it's worth.
Okay.
Does that seem something that I
Yeah,
can...
that's fine. Yeah, of course.
I don't like that.
Yeah, okay. That's fine. That's great. Okay, so why don't we stop for today? I'll give you a little bit of time to chat, and then see you in the morning.
Thanks.
Great.
This will conclude the recorded proffer interview for Thursday, July 24th. We will continue tomorrow, Friday, July 25th. The time is 3:34. Test, 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 test. I don't see, can't see it's blinking.
As you talk, it'll
Hello? Test, test,
Yep.
test,
There.
test.
look in the side of it right there as you're talking to it. It's talking.
Test, test, test. I see it blinking.
Yeah.
We're good.
Good to go.
We're shutting it down. Test, test, test. It is Friday, July 25th, 9:07 a.m. My name is Spencer R. Horn. I'm the Assistant Special Agent in Charge in FBI New York. This is day 2 of the proffer agreement recorded audio of Ms. Maxwell. Good morning. Today is Friday, July 25th. The time is 9:24 a.m. My name is Spencer R. Horn. I'm the Assistant Special Agent in Charge of FBI New York, and we are here for a recorded proffer agreement with Ms. Maxwell.
Good morning. Good morning, Ms. Maxwell. How are you?
Good morning.
Good. So the proffer agreement we signed yesterday, I just there's a place on it for us to all kind of initial. It's exactly the same document, and you'll see your signature. If you can just initial right to the left of right here, right there, and then Mr. Marcus will initial as well.
Thank you.
And just to kind of before we get going, I'll just say that exactly the same folks that were here when we met yesterday are here today. So I'm not going to do formal introductions because it's exactly the same group of folks. So we're continuing, Ms. Maxwell, our discussion of yesterday, and the same kind of rules apply. If you we'll take breaks. If you need to talk to Mr. Marcus or your lawyers, absolutely no problem. Just let me know. I'll try to ask my questions in a coherent manner, but if there's anything that I say that's confusing, definitely interrupt me.
I will. Thank you.
So I think the easiest thing to start with is there anything that we talked about yesterday that we're going to go through some more names. I think that that's one of the places that we interrupted just because there's a lot of names. But aside from additional names, is there anything that you wanted to kind of follow up on that we talked about yesterday, or anything that you thought maybe you remember more of or not?
Some more names did come to me in the night, and I did have some additional memories, just for clarity. I believe I said that I couldn't think of anybody who I may have asked from Mar-a-Lago, but then I realized that the allegation at least is that I met in Mar-a-Lago, so I felt that I needed to address that, and I didn't want to leave that hanging because that seems weird under the circumstances. And also, but I couldn't remember anyone, and that maybe it's a long period of time. So the issue is not that I'm trying to not say, but I just don't remember anybody that I would have. But it's not impossible that I might have asked someone from that.
I don't know exactly what you said yesterday, but I don't think what you said yesterday is different than what you just said. So yes.
Okay. I just wanted to be. I just didn't want to feel that I had said no to something, and that it didn't.
Definitely has said that she was working at Mar-a-Lago, and that you received a treatment from her at some point, and that you recruited her to meet Mr. Epstein. Right. Do you know affirmatively whether that's true or false, or do you just not have a memory either way?
I really don't believe it's true, but I know that I did go to spas, and if I met someone, I did ask if they're home. So in the realms of possibility, it could have, but I have no memory of it, and I don't believe that it's how it went down, but I don't want to.
Okay, so I want to talk about, we talked a little bit yesterday about the financial part of your relationship with Mr. Epstein, kind of being on payroll, for lack of a better word, for many, many years, starting around $25,000 and ending up at around $250,000 per year. There's, as you know from your trial, there's banking information that shows a ton of money being sent to you from Mr. Epstein over the years, I think totaling something like $30 million, something like this. What's the why was that money sent to you? Like, what was that for?
Well, first of all, I dispute the characterization that the money was sent to me.
Okay, so tell me what I am stuck with the witnesses at trial and what was said at trial on that issue. So what is the what do you dispute about that?
Well, I believe I don't have full recollection. I'm not even sure I ever saw what they accused me of, but my belief is that money also contained money that was for a helicopter, for instance, that I never owned, and I was never mine. And
in other words, money was sent to you that you then used to purchase things, or? Well,
I'm not even sure that I purchased it. So those accounts would be controlled by his accountants. And
even accounts in your name, you're saying, or one of your entities?
Well, I'm not even sure I knew of all the entities. Maybe I did contemporaneously, but I simply wouldn't know today. So if there was an entity, let's say account X, if I really set that up myself, or whether they said we're doing this and the money's coming or whatever, but in no substantive way, I can't think of the right word.
Did you have control of those
I had no
accounts?
control, is what I'm saying.
So when the government, when there was testimony or the government admitted evidence that showed, for example, $5 million in 2002 coming from Epstein to you, okay, what you're saying is that that happened, but that the you there wasn't money that he wasn't giving you money.
I'm not going to say that for everything, because maybe there were accounts that money was sent to me, but I can say that I know, like the helicopter, I can definitively say. I'd have to look at all of them to be accurate for you, but to explain how or why I could be receiving monies, and I certainly did, so I'm not disputing all of it.
But when you said that, let's go back and look at why did money have to go into your accounts or account that was controlled by others but in your name to like purchase a helicopter?
Oh, that's a very good question. I'm not sure I know the answer to that. I don't.
So let me ask this maybe a different way that gets to the issue, right? So the accusation by the government, based upon the evidence they collected, is that Epstein paid you millions and millions of dollars over the years, and the reason why he paid you that is because you were performing an extraordinary service for him by recruiting young women, many of whom were underage, so that he could sexually abuse them. Okay, that's their allegation. Okay. From what you said yesterday and from what I've reviewed about you and Mr. Epstein, he paid for a lot in your life. Your
Absolutely.
Flights, where you stayed with him. I mean, he didn't expect you to reimburse him along the way for food, and so he took care of you for many years.
That is true.
On top of that, he actually paid you a salary, as we talked about, $25,000 to $250,000. What else did he give you, or what purchase? Like, was there a time when he gave you $1 million or $500,000 as a bonus, or what financial benefit did you receive from him? Besides what we've already talked about, we don't have to talk about what would
I got it.
Okay.
So my goal always was to become independently financially secure, and work for myself. I've never been one to not work. And in that regard, over the course of my friendship and my working relationship with Epstein, I expressed to him my desire to be independent of him everywhere, just to be freestanding. And with that in mind, I wanted to have my own businesses or my own money coming in, independent and separate from any salary that I received from him. And I needed that for my self-esteem. I've never been, obviously salary, and it was a very generous one. Please, I'm not belittling the sum of money because it's huge, but I was brought up to work, and I was brought up to be my own, The first time, so I would either propose businesses to him, or he would actually suggest, why didn't I do something? And the first deal that we did, or the first business that we had, or I had, and that he financed for me, so he loaned me all the money to enable me to do this, and then I reaped the profits, which I don't remember now, because we varied over the deals that we did, that I would give him 50% or 25%. It was it was random. And I can tell you what it is. So,
go ahead. Yeah.
So it was in Palm Beach, actually, and it was in real estate, and they sold what was the grounds originally of an estate called the Phipps Estate, and then they converted the land that came with that estate into houses, and I did, I think 2 or maybe 3, I can't remember now, but certainly 1 and maybe 2, possibly 3, I don't think so, I think 2, that then were flipped and there was a profit. So that would be an example of that, but I didn't have the money, so he lent me the funds to do that business transaction, and then I reaped the profits.
And so, but
And that's millions of dollars.
When a financial investigator, like the FBI, looks at accounts, they don't know kind of the conversations you're having, they just see the money.
Right.
So in those cases, when that happened, when he financed that with you, would he send money to you? So does that explain some of the money? Like, I
think it does. I think, for instance, there were two Gullwing Mercedes that they did with Mercedes and Aston Martin. You can look up, I think, if I'm right, that had all the doors that would come up like this, that were only very limited number that were made. So I knew that we could get those and would flip them like within 24 hours, for example. Here's another example of something that you guys wouldn't have known about, is I became a banker. I got my Series 63, Series 67 banking license and became a broker for like a new minute. And then, because I was day trading, everything I had I day traded through an account. And I think I was lucky more than smart, but I made quite a lot of money doing that. And so
when was that? What
that's in the 90s again. I think, well, you can find it because it'll be my banking license, right? That'll be something that you can look up, probably. So whatever that is, and I just don't remember when that is. I'm sorry.
So so
for example, I was doing really, really, really well, and so he was like, "How do you do that? Why are you investing in, I don't know, Apple when nobody liked Apple? This is, before Apple or Microsoft. I didn't know Bill Gates, so this is not related to him. But my family.
Don't charge with insider trading.
Please don't. No, I'm not trying to suggest that. Oh goodness, please no. I had no.
It was just a joke.
Okay.
It's a joke.
Oh, yeah, no, all right. But my going back to my family, my dad had given me an account when I was 12, and I had always an interest in business and finance. Not terribly sophisticated. I'm not suggesting that. And so I like to trade, and so I did, and I did well. And so then I would tell him what I was doing. Now, whether he did or he didn't, he told me he matched me in some other accounts that he had, because he did a lot of. My observation, to go back to what he did, I observed him personally and have personal recollection of him trading money a lot, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars.
That he was trading for other people, or that was his own money?
I want also to clarify something for you, or underline. Wexner was, in my opinion, his closest friend in this time period from when I met him in 91, right, all the way until, till I don't know, because I wasn't that friendly with, I did travel with Mr. Wexner, but Epstein told me that Wexner didn't want to be seen too much with me because of my family problems. And
you mean
now whether that was
the problems that your father's company had with embezzlement or allegations of...
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. And now, actually, today, not contemporaneously, but today, I don't believe that is even true. I think it was used as a means to not have me travel with him to Ohio or whatever. It was just a way to park me. And I believe that now because within the discovery there was a lot of, not a lot, but there was some indications that he would actively tell other people to lie to me or conceal things from me, and that he never loved me and I wasn't his type. That's in the discovery somewhere.
So the government had evidence that even as late as 2007, he paid you a lot of money.
What was that? What was the money?
Like several millions and millions of dollars in 2007. $7.4 million, I think.
What was that for? Was that the helicopter?
That's my question.
Oh, sorry.
I don't know.
Okay,
so in
sorry.
2007,
I think that's probably the helicopter. That could have been the helicopter, the Sikorsky. Those big chunks like that. I don't personally have any memory of receiving a check from him for $7 million. I just don't. But I would have to. So the answer to your question, to be precise,
remember if it went into your pocket. And
I would
it was
remember
your-
if it went. He never paid me for services that you just described, $7 million for any nefarious
Yeah,
reason.
I think I understand what you've said about being on the payroll and helping you with businesses and giving you a lot of life things along the way. You travel with him, you eat with him, but there is these massive amounts of monny, one-time payments
You'd have to trace that, right? So I don't believe that came into my account or I had any control. I have no memory of that. I've no.
Well, but if there's records that show it coming into your account, it sounds like what you're saying is that, not putting aside you have no memory of that money being yours. Like that money is not somewhere.
No, I wouldn't be like, oh yippee, let me go. I got $7 million. I'm going to go buy myself a yacht. No, or I don't know, something else, or move it to some other. No, I don't think if you look, you'll have to check. Well, obviously you will. I don't think you'll find that money moving to any account other than mine, or it shouldn't show. I don't believe anyway. As far as I recollect, it wouldn't show me spending it.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I think I don't think there's any dispute by anybody, even your lawyers at trial, that the money went in.
$7 million in when? What year?
Well, there's several years. In 2007.
And?
It's the 2002. There was $5 million that you were paid in 2002.
Oh, well, I'd have to. I don't remember. But okay, so there would be another large sum, but it wouldn't have come from him later. But with nothing to do.
The biggest one was in 1999. There was over 18 million, 18.3 million.
I don't know what that is.
So what? But but what you're saying, it sounds like, and then if you don't know, we can move on. But when we're talking about 18.3 million in 99, 5 million and 3 years later in 2002, 7.4 million in 2007, that money adds up to around $30 million. You were not paid that by Mr. Epstein, meaning that's not money you received for your benefit, even if it was put into your accounts.
I don't believe any of that was my money. Now, I just, like I said, we did do these things with the cars.
I understand that.
And we did,
I understand that.
But I don't know if any of that money, some of it, if it moves, some of that may have come from the car or a house that was sold that I had an interest in with him. That's possible, but I don't think this money is mine.
But also, the record should reflect, too, that there were times Ghislaine's name was used. For example, Air Ghislaine. Her name was in the name of the entity. It had nothing to do with her. And if you pulled signatures,
Yeah.
there's no...
What I'm trying to just make sure that I understand is that the idea that you were paid $30 million between 99 and 2007 in order to, by Mr. Epstein, to reward you for recruiting young women, that is, you're saying that is categorically completely false.
That is categorically false, correct.
Okay, so I want to we went through several individuals yesterday, and I want to go through just a couple of more names and ask if you know them, and if you do know them, how you know them. Do you know Elon Musk?
I do.
And how did you meet Mr. Musk?
I met him in, I don't remember the year, but it's going to be in 2010, 11, something like that, I think, if my memory serves. And I was at an event for Sergey Brin, the co-founder of Google, and Sergey had arranged it was for his birthday, and we were, a bunch of us, I don't even remember how many we were, but not many of us. Maybe, I don't know. If I say 40, I could be wrong. If it was 30 or 50, I don't remember. I'm sorry. Went to another friend's island. Somebody called Mr. Bigotzi in the Caribbean, and not with Epstein. He was not there to celebrate Sergei's birthday. And we were there together for, I want to say 3 or 4 days, something like that, in my memory. And Mr. Musk was present for that.
And that was the first time you met him, as far as you know?
As far as I remember, yes.
Did you meet, did you know his brother, Mr. Musk's brother?
I don't know if I've ever met him. I know that he has a brother, and but I don't think I met him.
Aside from that time in around 2010 on the island of the Caribbean for a couple of days, do you know Mr. Musk beyond that time?
We met at, I was at the Oscars, and we met at the Oscars.
What year was that? Earlier or later?
It was post that event, I believe.
And do you know whether Mr. Epstein knew Mr. Musk?
I believe they did, and the only reason I say that is not from my memory, but because I saw, I think I saw, my memory is that in Discovery they were communicating on email.
So you have no personal knowledge of that. It's just what you've seen from the press or from Discovery.
And I believe his brother as well, actually.
Excuse me?
Mr. Musk's brother as well. But I don't. Like I said, my memory is not it's not as good as I would like it to be, and I just want to say that.
Do you mentioned, I think yesterday in passing, not in passing, but as part of another answer, Andrew Cuomo?
Yes.
Did you know Mr. Cuomo?
Well, only because he was married to Carrie.
Yes, okay.
And I think I knew his brother as well. He has a brother, right? He's on TV. What's his name? Right,
We'll
Christopher.
Yeah,
Chris.
Yeah. You mean the former TV anchor, or
yes,
the TV anchor?
Yes.
Chris Cuomo? Okay.
So, but I would say just socially, I'm not close friends or anything, but because I was friends with Carrie, and I met him a few times, and I've certainly met his brother as well a few times.
And the same questions that I asked about Mr. Musk, do you know whether Mr. Epstein knew Andrew Cuomo or Chris Cuomo or Miss Kennedy, your friend?
I don't think so.
And so you don't recall any of those 3 individuals like flying on Mr. Epstein's plane or visiting him in Palm Beach or at the island?
No.
I think you mentioned former Secretary of State John Kerry yesterday, but if not, do you know Mr. Kerry or no?
I have met him, but I don't know if Mr. Epstein ever met him. I met him at only, well, really, I can't even probably characterize that as a meeting, but I was very, very involved in the ocean work through you asked me yesterday about Terramar, and if I recall right, I met the Secretary that way through the ocean, but he wouldn't know who I am, I doubt. I don't think.
Do you know former Senator Ted Kennedy?
Yes.
And is that through your own life or through Mr. Epstein?
My life.
Do you know whether Mr. Epstein knew Senator Kennedy?
I don't believe so.
And so for the folks we just talked about, so former Secretary of State John Kerry, Ted Kennedy, you don't know whether Mr. Epstein knew him, so I take that to mean you have no recollection of them flying on his planes or visiting him. Okay.
But Bobby Kennedy knew him. Bobby, the health.
Sorry, say that again about Bobby Kennedy?
Bobby knew Mr. Epstein.
How do you know that?
Because we went on a trip together. We went to dinosaur bone hunting in the Dakotas.
When was that? Approximately. I'm not looking for an exact date, but when was that?
That was early. That was in the early night. Well, let me back up. I knew Bobby's wife, Mary, pretty well actually, and before he met her.
And just to help us, I know we're talking about a wide span of time, but when are you talking about that you knew Mr. Kennedy's wife before they were married? So when are we talking about the?
In 19. Oh, all right, I just got to get my head straight. In
Well, would this have been before you met Mr. Epstein?
Yes.
Or after? Okay, so
I met him before I met.
So we're talking about
In
the 1980s.
Oh yes, yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
The 80s.
Okay, so we're talking about the 1980s, and then.
I was the I had a very, very long-standing boyfriend, and he had his brother was dating Mary at the time, and we were all very good friends.
And then Mr. Epstein, did Mr. Epstein meet Bobby Kennedy through you?
I don't think so, because Mr. Epstein, surprisingly, everyone says everything happened through me. That's just not true. I mean, I think yesterday I explained that he had friends from London, and they were what the people would call fancy. They were fancy people. But he had the same types of relationships before I met him in America. So when I met him, he was already, Wexner, and he had Henry, and he was. I don't know if then he was in the Council of Foreign Relations, but he was friends with Ace, and he was well established.
Yeah.
He didn't need me, and he was, his Eva was, major model, so he had all these modeling connections and friends in that business that long before I met him.
And so the trip that you went on with Mr. Epstein and Bobby Kennedy, was that in the 90s and 2000s?
I think it would have been in the, I want to say 93, 94.
Okay. So a very long time ago.
A very, very long time ago.
A few years into your relationship, a few years into the time that you knew Mr. Epstein.
Yes. I don't want to hold myself to the dates because I really.
No, I'm not holding you to dates. I think
I really
I've said that a lot because I appreciate we're talking about the 80s and 90s and even the 2000s.
I just want you to know I don't have anything to review. So I haven't had any ability to, short of my legal material, obviously, which I have, so I came with a box worth, but short of that, I have nothing with which to refresh, well, very limited stuff, I should say. I don't want to say nothing to refresh my mind.
Understand that. Do you have any recollection of Mr. Kennedy, of there being anything inappropriate with Mr. Kennedy and masseuses or young women on the trip you just talked about?
I never saw anything inappropriate with Mr. Kennedy.
And do you know whether he ever got a massage from one of the masseuses? Do you know either way?
I do not.
But not something you remember?
I mean, absolutely not. I mean, yesterday, if I didn't make it clear, I will reiterate it. I never, ever saw any man doing something inappropriate with a woman of any age. I never saw inappropriate behavior. Now, I'm not going to say, hands or, that to me is not inappropriate. Now, if somebody's inappropriate and mine may be different, but I'm not talking about anything that's resembles the accusations that we're discussed here. So that would be a flat no to any man.
Did your or Mr. Epstein's relationship with Bobby Kennedy continue into the 2000s, as far as you know?
I would say yes. Well, mine, yes.
Yours, with you?
With me, for sure.
And do you know whether Mr. Epstein and Mr. Kennedy, Bobby Kennedy, continue to have relationships into the 2000s?
I have no personal knowledge of that. I mean, because
yeah,
here's
no
another thing is that everyone puts us together a monolith. He literally had a separate life from me. I literally had a separate life from him. Now, did they say? Well, of course they did. I'm not crazy, but he kept a lot to himself, and he didn't like to share. He was not a sharer, well, at least not with
Mr.
me.
Epstein didn't share, you're saying?
Not with me, no.
Did you, do you know somebody named Cheryl Mills? Used to
do.
work in the White House as
Yes,
a
I do,
lawyer.
yes.
How do you know Miss Mills?
I met Ms. Mills through President Clinton.
And do you remember generally the time frame that you met her?
I do, actually. Oh, hang on. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to remember. I'm trying to get my dates right.
Approximately.
Well, okay, I can't get my dates right. But it's something you probably can. It's going to be in the early 2000s.
Okay.
So what I don't recall.
So
I wanted to say 2002.
So
I'm
it
going to
was
say
after
2002 or
President
2003.
Clinton left office,
Oh yes,
and so it was in the 2000s.
definitely.
And how did you meet her? What were the circumstances under which you met Miss Mills?
I went on a trip with the president to South America.
With which president?
Oh, sorry, President Clinton.
Yeah. Okay. Just
Sorry.
I just wanted to make sure it was clear. Okay. So you went on a trip to where?
Latin America.
And so Miss Mills was on that trip.
She was.
And President Clinton was on that trip.
He was.
Who else was on that trip?
Doug Band.
Who worked with President Clinton?
Yes.
And was Mr. Epstein?
No.
And what was the purpose of that trip?
Well, the president had been. I don't know. I mean, the president met with. I can't even remember all the presidents, and we were in
But was this
Ecuador.
part of President Clinton's work after he left office with his foundation, or was meaning?
I don't think the
was
foundation.
it something for him,
when
or
did
was it?
I don't remember when the Clinton Global Initiative started. So if you give me that date, I can tell you if it was pre or post. Because without that, I can't pin the reason.
Do you remember what it was for or not?
No, I don't
Okay.
recall. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't.
that's don't overthink or
No.
underthink the reason for my questions. I don't have any idea why you went on that trip, so
Okay,
I don't
sorry.
know an answer that I'm keeping.
No,
from
I'm
you.
just trying to be as accurate as possible and give you the
Why would
information that
you?
see.
Do you remember why you were invited to go? Like, were you friends with somebody? What was your role going on that trip?
I didn't have a role.
So, do you remember why? Do you remember who invited you to go?
Probably Doug Band.
And how did you know Doug?
Because Doug again back with Philip Levine.
And do you know whether he had a relationship with Mr. Epstein?
Who?
Doug.
I don't know. I mean, nothing. I don't believe there was any relationship other than I helped. Well, without me, I don't think there would have been those flights because I was the one who asked Epstein to provide the plane for. Well, certainly I remember the one to Africa, of course, that big trip. And I thought it was an honor and a privilege to be part of something so amazing and to have an opportunity to spend time with a man that I found truly extraordinary. And I please, I don't mean it in any other way other than as a former fantastic ex-president.
So, I was asking around the question, but I was asking, like, were you basically asked to go because you were kind of responsible for the plane? Not responsible is the wrong word. They use you. They were able to use you to make sure that they could. You helped them get Mr. Epstein's plane for the trip?
No, I don't even know if when I was on that. In fact, I think that trip, I'm not even sure that Epstein had met the president.
Okay.
I think this was, if I'm right, and I think I am, I think that trip happened when Epstein and Clinton had never even, not that they'd never met because Epstein had gone to the White House, but they had not met. I'd never asked Epstein for the plane then because they'd never met and it would be weird. But they met because of me and the plane was because of me. But that trip was the first, I think, the first trip I took with the ex-president, and I don't believe Epstein and he had met. And we're talking a time period when I was trying to leave, not very successfully, obviously, but I was branching out on my own and being more independent of Mr. Epstein and trying to, I had all kinds of businesses that I was into. I was trying to start the first telehealth medicine with the Cleveland Clinic. I mean, I'm not going to bore you because I don't think that's what you guys are interested in, but those were the sorts of things that I was looking for him to finance so that I could stop being, general manager of a hotel.
Did you take other trips with some or all of those individuals kind of without Mr. Epstein in later years? Like you said, that was the first time that you kind of been on something like that, and it was an honor, and you were spending time with former President Clinton and others. Were there other, over the years, did you do that more than once?
Yes.
We'll talk about those. Like multiple times, like too many to count, or there 3 or 4 times, like how many times?
A lot. I went on a lot of trips. Now, I don't recall all of them, not because I'm trying to be evasive or anything, but I just don't remember them all. And after a while, in the incredible job that you have, all of you, that when you're so high pressured and you're spending so much time with extraordinary people like you do with President Trump, it can blur. It just does. And there's a few things that stand out because at the end it's all just extraordinary. There's cars and sirens and president. It's like, whoa, okay.
So I understand, but talk. So don't give me understand. You can't give specific numbers. Describe more about kind of that part of your life and your relationship. I'm using relationship. You don't like relationship.
I don't.
And your and your
my employer.
Yes.
Right,
so just to
you.
describe what you were doing with those individuals. So when I say those individuals, I'm talking about former President Clinton, Doug, other folks that worked with
all
him.
Of them, yes, there were loads of them, and basically all of them. You know the team. I don't need to give you all the names. You have them at your fingertips, and I can confirm. If you give me names, I'll say yes, because they're not all going to pop into my head. So,
Right.
Okay. So I started spending a lot of time. I don't want to characterize that later. I started to spend time with the former president and with Doug and his team, and I had no purpose really, other than I obviously offered something. I don't know, ideas of, I don't know. Anyway, and he started to travel. I don't remember if the first trip was Africa or how it went, but at some point, I think there was actually 2 trips, but I'm not sure. So there was to Europe and then to Africa. I think maybe it was all one trip. And at some point, Mr. Epstein said he didn't want to go on the trip, and he was going somewhere else, and he just left. And I was like, well, okay. And so I ended up doing the whole trip without Mr. Epstein or his plane.
And when you were traveling with them, what were the purposes of the trips? Like, is this one?
I think these were all, I think actually it was the AIDS was one of the primary ones for his AIDS foundation when he was working to do that. And there were always a humanitarian side to the trips. And we went to Egypt, and there was, yeah.
So it sounds like you're describing one trip with lots of
It
stops.
could be, but I have a feeling that I went on other trips, but I can't remember.
When you went on these...
I went to London.
To London, okay.
I don't know if that's the same trip.
When you went on these trips, were you always on Mr. Epstein's plane, or
No.
did you sometimes accompany them on a different plane?
Correct, yes.
How many were on Mr. Epstein's plane? Again, I'm not holding you to exact, but
That was packed, because there was a lot of Secret Service. It took all the Secret Service as well. So
Okay.
it was, whatever the detail is for Secret Service, it's a lot.
and on how many occasions, besides the trip you just described, were there other times when they used when President Clinton and the folks he was with used Mr. Epstein's plane?
I think there was twice, maybe, there was that, but it will reflect on the logs. There won't be anything that's not on the logs that you have already. So
Were you, by the way, responsible for the logs in any way? Like, you've seen the logs and they're public and you had them in discovery, but over the years when you were working with or for Mr. Epstein, did you have access to the logs?
No, never. The pilots, the logbook was their personal logbook. I never even saw them have it. I never saw them fill it in. And then there was a second set of logs, the flight manifests, and I never saw those either. I was never allowed, I suppose, because they didn't want me to see.
Do you know whether Mr. Epstein had a separate relationship with President Clinton, different from what you just described, so different than being with him with respect to his foundation or something like this?
I would say no.
When's the last time that you went on a trip or saw President Clinton?
It was in, it was late 2000 and, I don't know, 16, 17,
Okay.
8, something. It was in Los Angeles.
And what was the purpose of that meeting?
He was hosting something, or he was at an event, and I was in LA, and I had dinner with him.
Did you ever meet Secretary Clinton, Hillary Clinton?
Yes.
When did you meet her?